Hey guys, welcome back for the weekly price updates. So I'm gonna start as usual with BTCUSD and with the monthly candles. So if we look at the logarithmic scale and we show the full history here on Bitstamp, if we take a look at the volume, guys, we haven't seen any capitulative volume yet. Which is usually how bear markets end, with capitulative volume, and then an increase of volume at the end. We haven't seen anything like that just yet. So from this perspective, it's a little bit hard to be calling bottoms, no matter what you hear around, on the news from other technical analysis channels on YouTube, on Twitter. This doesn't look like it reached a bottom yet. The RSI is really oversold, but it's not really important in this time frame because we can see here cryptos can go for a long time undervalued and for a lot longer overvalued here. So yeah, it doesn't really say much. If we zoom in to take a look at the current monthly candle, we can see that it already traded below the previous monthly candle, and it's right now below the 20-month moving average, which is, it should be a strong level of support here for a bounce. 20-month moving average is a very, very strong moving average, but it's right now below it, and this candle is gonna close today, anytime now, I think maybe in the next 10 hours. So the whole month it's almost complete here, and this will very likely close below the 20-month moving average. Now, of course, it doesn't mean it will just damp from the in the next month just because it closed slightly below the 20-month moving average. No, it doesn't mean that. It could, the next month could come back down to retest the low of this current candle here, and then start trading up and bounce here, and it would if it bounces here, it would qualify as a bounce on the 20-month moving average, even though it closed slightly below it for a second, because bounces on moving averages are not always perfect. It's not like it's going to just touch it and bounce, which it happens many times, but sometimes it just closes a little bit below, and then if the next candle is a green candle and it shows a bounce and it actually closes as a green candle, that could be the beginning of the bounce. But for now it's still neutral here, guys. On the weekly, we can see that we went outside this giant triangle that everybody's been looking at for the past several months now. So it went outside the triangle for a second, but it's right now back inside the triangle. So yeah, it went outside the triangle, but there was no volume whatsoever. So this does not qualify as a breakout. And now we are back inside the triangle. So this triangle is going to finish next week, or the week after. It's like at the very, very tip of the triangle. So we will see, but we still have at least 1 week and a half that we could potentially be waiting here. So not a lot more to say about this. If it breaks below it, or if it stays sideways for another week or two, the 100-week moving average, it will catch up probably, and hey, it could be a bounce here. 100 period moving averages are also very standard. They're also strong moving averages. On the daily, guys, so long as we remain below the 200-day moving average, we are in a technical bear market. I removed the rest of moving averages because they are just crossing with each other every few candles, because the price is basically been going flat for quite some time now. But as so long as we remain below the 200-day moving average, this is a technical bear market, so you need to assume continuation until proven wrong, which means expect lower lows at some point. Also, the positive thing about this though is that the 200-day moving average is going flat now, is turning flat. Usually what defines a bear market is that the price is below all moving averages, the 4 main moving averages, which are the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200, and they are all trending down and in sequence. And here in this case, we can see the 200-day moving average, which is, the last level of the fence. It's already going flat. I mean, it's still downtrending, but it's almost going flat. So this usually happens during the transition between the bear market and the bull market. So it's a positive sign, but it's still not really going flat, still downtrending. So, overall, guys, I still expect capitulation at some point before, calling bottoms here. On the 4 hours, we can see a few patterns that have played out in the previous days or weeks. However, none of them, or at least not this one, the first triangle here and the last bear flag here. So this one in the middle made the target, the one that just broke, I think it was 2 days ago. This one made the targets, but this big one here still didn't make the target, which is at just below $6,000, 5,900. So this one still didn't make the target. So the target is still valid. We're still waiting for this target to be made in this first bigger triangle. Then we had another one which made the target, and now we are forming a bear flag. And the target for this little bear flag is going to be, if it breaks, of course it might not break, but if it breaks to the bearish side, which 70% probability it'll be to the bearish side because it's a bearish pattern. So if it does make the target, it would be just above 6,000, so 6,050. And the bigger one is 5,900. If we do break in the downside, of course, it's never 100% guaranteed. This bigger triangle could, break in the upside anytime as well. But if it all goes, according to the patterns and to the targets, I would expect major support at 5,800. That's just because it's major support from the past. However, if we if we break below that, then I would be expecting some panic selling and, the selling to accelerate and, maybe finally get capitulation and get it over with. But, we could be stuck here for quite some time until this happens, and it might never happen and we just, consolidate here and then go up. Who knows? But this is just an assessment of probabilities, and analysis of patterns, and these so far are bearish patterns. And in the 1 hour, all we can do here is just look at the exact same pattern, this bear flag that it's forming, and if it breaks, well, here you have your target. I'm not going to spend any more time here because there's absolutely nothing else to see. I wanted to close this video with my thoughts on the current situation with the stock markets. It is true that the main indices look completely horrible right now because they have broken below the 200-day moving average and closed and opened several days below it. We broke below the main trend line that's been holding here for years now. All the moving averages have already crossed bullish except for the 200-day, but the 200-day is starting to go from uptrending to flat to downtrending. So this is a technical bear market. There's no denial of that. Plus, the markets have been going vertical for the past few years now. Like, it's not really sustainable. So yes, we are in a technical bear market. However, I have a hard time believing that this is going to be the mega collapse that everybody's calling for when precious metals, gold and especially silver, look so bearish. If we take a look at the silver chart here, I mean, there's absolutely nothing bullish here, nothing that indicates a reversal. I mean, I would be very, very surprised. Of course, not impossible, nothing is impossible, but I would be very surprised that this turns it just reverses from bearish to bullish and starts going vertical here. I just don't see this happening. So what I would anticipate for the markets, for the stock markets, is that we actually find, we correct. Maybe this is going to correct a little bit deeper, but I would say the price needs to find a stable level probably fair value. I don't think this is going to go, you know, super undervalued. I think this is gonna try to find a fair value, because it's true right now everything is really overvalued and, you know, in bubble mode. But yeah, as I said, looking at precious metals and how bearish they are, I don't think precious metals are going to reverse from bearish to bullish all of the sudden. So because stock markets and precious metals are inversely correlated usually, I would expect the stock market to just find a fair value and consolidate from there. But of course, after breaking main support and after breaking below 200-day moving average, I would expect a period of crazy volatility for the time being until it finds a fair value, you know, a stable level where it can consolidate. So that's what I would be expecting, crazy volatility for now, trying to find an area, you know, where it's going to consolidate for some time, maybe for the next few years. But of course, I'm going to continue to monitor this and, you know, reassess and update here on the channel if I see any, you know, any important changes. Also, a quick comment here on the wheat markets. So we had a very clear sell the news event. Also, the crash in the stock markets is not helping, you know, any industry. So I would be expecting something similar with what I said in the stock markets, but for the immediate term, I think I'm looking at the CGC chart now. I would expect a significant bounce at the 200-day moving average, which is already, you know, it just touched it yesterday. So I would expect a significant bounce here on the 200-day moving average, which is also significant support from here, from the past. And it's also the 78.6 Fibonacci level. So I would be expecting a big bounce here. As I said before, I'm expecting crazy volatility with this, you know, after such a crash here, 50% crash almost, you know, in a week or a little bit more than a week, I would be expecting a bounce, like crazy volatility for the time being. I don't know if this bounce is going to hold, meaning probably it'll just bounce probably to the 50% Fibonacci, which is $41 or $42, and then back down again to the 200-day moving average, and we'll see if it holds from here. But as I said with the stocks, I would be expecting also for marijuana companies, at least the big ones, the main ones. The small little ones, who knows, maybe they just go down to zero and disappear over time, of course not tomorrow. But for the main ones, I'd say it needs to find a stable level, which, you know, I don't know if it's going to be above or below the 200-day moving average, but I would be expecting crazy volatility here. If the 200-day moving average holds, then great. And if it doesn't hold and it goes lower, then, you know, I would be waiting for the price to find a stable level and consolidate from there, and, you know, the volatility to start to decrease, and from there we will reassess, and, you know, the market will have to decide if it goes up or down. But for now, yeah, immediate movement is probably going to be a big bounce here at the 200-day moving average. Go back down to retest the 200-day, and we will see if it holds from there. So that's what I got for you today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.